Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. Our next guest is not a Leafs fan. Yay!
Yeah, even though he's from Toronto, and he may never be allowed back there again. Steve Riley joining us, certified Cicerone, betterbeer.com is what he does. And we're going to talk about quality beer, how to find it, and how to know that you have it as well.
So first question, what is a Cicerone?
A Cicerone is the beer equivalent of a sommelier. So we've studied beer, and we understand beer and food pairing and the styles of beer. And it's an old English term that means somebody who would take a group of folks around in guided tours talk about architecture and culture and the history. So we do that with beer.
Yeah. And it's fascinating. There's, I believe there's 12 of you that are certified in Canada?
In Canada, yeah. There's about 175 in the world.
Wow. And it has the same, I mean, when you compare it to sommelier, you go through the testing process and sort of the same thing as well. My goodness, I want to ask you so much about that and how you got started, but we have to talk about
Let's
beer.
talk about the beer. What are we starting with here?
Well, I brought in a couple of award-winning beers, and the first one, Granville Island, has won their Imperial Chocolate Stout, won a gold medal at the World Beer Cup last year. So unfortunately, because it's a limited time only, there's none left. So we can't sample that. But it was Granville Island does such a great job with all their different beer, and of course they're locally based. And they have their Mingler pack, and that's kind of the trends where we see people drinking different varieties of beer.
This is for when you can't make up your mind of what you want, right? You want to have some variety.
Steve, this is almost like a chicken or egg question, but I mean, you notice people like Granville Island, and we're going to go through some other companies as well, and the creativity that they're showing in their brewing. Is it led by the consumer, or are these guys just having more fun with what they're...
It's a little bit of both.
Yeah.
And, 30 years ago, people would drink one beer.
Yeah.
Like my dad was an export drinker.
Right.
That's all he would
My
drink,
dad was
right?
a Labatt's Blue. Yeah, same thing.
And I remember as kids, we go in a restaurant, we sit down, and, Mom would unpack us all, and I'll have an X. So sorry, we don't have it. Pack up the kids. We're going
We're back
else,
out again.
Right? Those days are gone. Nobody does that anymore.
What have we got here with Rickards?
Rickards, they have a Taster's 12 pack as well, so it's similar to the Mingler pack, and that's the trend that we're seeing because people have this circle of brands. The average beer drinker in Canada drinks about 3 different brands of beer every 30 days.
So if someone tells you that they love a lager, do you have like a way that you can sort of branch them out into other beers and sort of widen that horizon, I guess?
Yeah, well, lagers, as much as people like the beer purists, right? There's a lot of them out there, and I kind of and I would kind of throw myself in there a little bit too, but I try to promote the whole industry.
Yeah.
Whereas the beer snobs will say, oh, light-bodied lagers like this, what we're going to try Molson M. Oh, it's not really beer. But these beer, the light beer, are actually the hardest to brew.
Really? Why?
So, Steve,
because you can't.
If you were to kick back at a hockey game, what would you drink?
Whatever's in front of me.
Liar.
It depends. If I'm having a couple, and it's kind of in that mood, I go lighter beer. And these are harder to brew because you can't mask any imperfections. And anybody who's brewed before knows it's really tough to brew beer, and there's a lot of things that can go wrong, and it's tough to keep those faults out.
Well,
whereas in lagers, it's tough to do.
Part of your job and part of what you do is being able to detect where things go wrong sometimes with a different beer and where there isn't a balance. So how do you actually do it? We're going to taste beer, which...
Yeah, we're going to taste...
Tough day for you,
oh, well, I'm not drinking this beer.
No.
This is a taste.
Just tasting. There's a big difference.
So does one taste beer like you taste wine? Is that the idea?
It's kind of the same principle, except in the beer world, we always swallow the beer. You have to. In the wine world, they always spit it out.
Yeah.
A big part of... You said it. I was thinking it. A big part of beer is the hoppiness or the aftertaste, the bitterness of the beer, and that's in the back of your tongue, exactly. So you have to be able to take a sip of it. So
right in the glass, we're talking color first, right?
We're looking at the appearance of the beer, so it's nice and clear. So Molson M won the North American Lager at the 2010 Canadian Brewing Awards. So it's nice and crystal clear, as it should be. White head on the beer, CO2's cascading up from the bottom, so that's what you want to see. So we're making sure that it doesn't have any floaties in it, which is a technical brewing term.
Is it really floaties?
That's in my vocabulary. Well, if it was past code, so if it was old, if it wasn't stored properly, or if it wasn't brewed correctly.
Can that happen to your average beer? It can go off?
Yeah, it's like food. It's like bread or milk.
Do they have expiry dates on them?
No, but usually the retailers
they're gone far before that.
Exactly. They get rid of them. They sell them out quick. And the retailers do a good job of rotating. So yeah, that's it. The next step is the aroma of the beer.
And what do you smell? I mean, what is the scent a combination of the hops and the barley and everything? Is it all together? Or,
Yeah, so there's,
does
when we
one take
talk about a beer
precedence?
being balanced, it's the sweetness from the malt and the bitterness from the hops. So hops are kind of like the spice in beer. So when a beer's balanced, it has just as much sweet, cereal, grainy aroma as it does the citrus, floral.
Does beer have
Check.
tannins?
Tannins? No, I don't think so.
It will for you. Though.
You try it.
Fiona loves beer.
Why do you not like tannins?
Am I allowed to sip now?
Yeah, do
go
it.
ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So what should Mikey be looking for here?
So it should take about an ounce, which is probably a little less than the big
I
gulp.
wanted to make sure I had a good sample.
So about an ounce, and you swirl it around the inside of your mouth.
So just like wine.
Just like wine.
Yeah.
And then this is where it gets a little tricky. You want to swallow the beer, breathe out through your nose, and then open your mouth. So swallow the beer, breathe out through your nose.
That was like,
What do I do?
I could see his brain working.
I didn't realize it was so hard.
Wait, walk him through it again.
So when
I
when
see
you,
why, though.
So yeah, when you take a sip and you swallow the beer, you get the taste of all the different characteristics on your tongue, and then when you breathe out through your nose, it starts to get a little amplified, and then when you open your mouth and the oxygen gets into the back, because really we taste in the back of right in the back of our throat.
See what you mean.
It totally.
Fires at the front, fires at the back. Like
Yep.
you sort of get it all the way along the palate.
And it amplifies it. As soon as you open your mouth and the oxygen gets in there, the air, it just overwhelming. Yeah.
Well, if you like beer, guess what?
I've got so much more to talk.
It's good, right?
Yeah, it's really good.
If you want to find out more information about quality beer, you can check out the website. We're going to take a quick break, and when we return.